I decided for this month I was just going to start picking up the mic and start rambling on stuff that came to mind and see where it goes and see if it sticks. So when I listen back, whether I can put it up or not. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about marriage, black marriage. And because somebody said, how come men or black men don't get married? And it's really obvious why black men don't get married, probably shouldn't get married, is because the average marriage only lasts 8 years. And the average black marriage only lasts 5 years. And with the expense and risk of marriage and all that kind of crap, it's probably not worth it to get married for that short a time, especially when 80% of the time it's going to be initiated by the woman. It really makes no sense to pursue a woman, vet her, date her, and then ultimately put a ring on her finger and marry her. That, if you think about it, from the time that you meet her, most times it's at least 2-year process before you actually put a ring on her finger and marry her. So you invest 7 years, probably have a couple kids, and then the other thing is that you're going to be paying, if you had a couple kids, you're going to be paying for another 18 years of investment for what? For 5 years of happiness, supposedly. If you're happy, you're probably going to only be happy for a year or two. Doesn't make sense. And probably the best time you're going to have with that woman is before you get married. Why you married in the first place. Anyhow, just thinking about that. And then I might do another video on that later. But what I was thinking about, what got me thinking about is Michelle Obama. I know, our favorite gynocrat. And not from the perspective that you would think. Right? We already know that how she is with Barack. We already know that she downs Barack. She talks, sneak disses Barack when she gets a chance. And she's been doing that since we've known about her. Probably she's been doing it since she got with him. But that's not the angle I'm coming at. What I actually got to thinking about it, what I actually considered was, does Michelle think about being happy? Is she a happy person? Because every time I look at Michelle, every time I see Michelle, for the most part, she's not a happy person. She really isn't. She doesn't, she commands a room because she's been taught, because of her stature, because of her status. She commands a room, but she doesn't light up a room. Regardless of what you say, Barack Obama lights up a room. Barack Obama seems to be the exact opposite of Michelle. Barack Obama, regardless of what you think about him, seems to be a happy person. Whether it's on stage, during politics, whether it's in a person doing an interview. Now he'll do a serious interview, but you get a idea that Barack Obama is a happy person. Unlike Joe Biden, unlike maybe even Bill Clinton. Barack Obama seems to be a very content, happy person. He's really content with himself. He's content with where he is because he's content with what he does. He seems to be a happy person. Michelle does not. Most first ladies seem to be a very congenial, happy, enjoyable person. Michelle does not. And it grabbed me that, why is she not a happy person? Why is she not happy? Why is she continuously sad looking? Because you had a great life. Maybe your father did die. Maybe there's some stuff that happened to you. But guess what? You went to an Ivy League school. You got a law degree from Ivy League school. You had a great job. You lived a 0.1% life. Even when you got married, was it rocky sometimes? I'm sure it was. But the thing is, you were on a roller coaster ride with that man. You can't say that your life was not exciting. That's one thing you can't say. You cannot say that your life was dull. It wasn't dull. You and your children had a great life. You and your children had a 0.1% life, probably 0.0001% life. You got to meet the queen. You got to meet all these dignitaries. You got to do things that 99.99% of black women on this planet could never do, ever, including Beyonce, including the people that you said you would love to be. And I'm just wondering, I was wondering if Barack or not, with the talents that she has, with the life path that she had, if she could go back and change something in her life, what would she do? She's not a singer. She's not a pretty person, say like Beyonce. She can't, you can't remake yourself from birth. But given what she had, if she could go back and do it all over again, what would she do? How would she live? What kind of career would she have? Who would she marry? Say if it was Barack. Say she married Barack at almost 30 years old. Say she married him and she was his wife. If she could go back and control the destiny of her and him, what would she do and what would he do? Because he was destined for politics. He said he wanted to be president when he was a teenager. He knew where his path was. He surrounded himself with people that knew what his path was. Thing is, did she know what her path was? She never said what her path was going to be. She never said what she wanted out of life. Because evidently she didn't like this. She didn't like him being in politics. She didn't like him being president. She hated him being president. She hated him being in politics. You can tell it's painful when she goes on stage. Now, she'll perform. She commands the room. She gives a good speech. But this is not her passion. Even with her podcast. Now, why she has a podcast, I don't know. She's sitting there talking to her brother, and they're supposed to be chummy. But even with that, it comes out that I am not a happy person. I'm not happy to be here in front of this audience. I'm not happy to be here and talk about what I'm talking about. I'm not happy. So I'm curious about Michelle Obama. I would really love to know if she could go back and do things over again. I know she'll never tell. At least I don't think she'll ever tell. I would love to sit down with her for like 30 minutes and say, baby, spill it. Just between me and you. What did you want out of your life? Barack or not? If it wasn't Barack, who? Who would you want to marry? Who would you want to have your kids by? And maybe she didn't want to have kids. Maybe she wanted to be an auntie. Maybe she wanted to live the independent Chicago life where she was a high-powered business person with a law degree. Perhaps that. Perhaps she's more like Jasmine Crockett. Who knows? I'm just curious because she seems like the whole time she was with Barack, the whole time she was married to Barack, it was torture. When the kids were little, you're in Chicago, your mother's helping out. Your brother's helping out. You have a whole host of people that can help you do what you do. People, you have plenty of money. If you want to hire a nanny, hire help, you can't complain about you and the kids being little. There's lots of different things you could have done. The thing is, every little thing about you and your marriage to Barack was painful, including the White House. So I'm wondering, what in this world would have made you happy? What in the world does make you happy? Because I don't think I've ever heard her say what she does absolutely makes her happy. Nothing. I mean, no hobby, no passion, nothing. Haven't heard it. You can see when Barack reads a book, Barack has an artist. He completely enjoys that artist. When he goes to play basketball, he completely enjoys playing basketball. He has a passion for this. And she seems to be the exact opposite. She seems to be a curmudgeon with a stank face half the time. It's like, I don't get it. I would really love to hear that. I would really love to know that. What would make her happy? What would finally, after all these years, when she could turn the key and live her best life and be happy doing it, where she has a smile on her face every day, what would it be? Or maybe she enjoys being unhappy. Some people do. Anyhow, that's just a thought. So I decided just to put it down on wax and see how it turns out. It may be, bunk. But you never know. With that, I'm going to jump off here. Just be just out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.